Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Trending with Dallion and Tinsley. I'm your host, Tinsley. This is my co host, Dallion,
Hello.
and we're so excited for episode 6. We promised last time that when we did the episode about skin, we would quickly follow up with an episode about beauty and makeup. So here we are. Dallion, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I have been on my TikTok game in preparation for this topic because I needed to brush up a little bit on makeup.
Yeah, I didn't do any research, but I'm more in the know about makeup trends than I was about skincare trends. So
Got it.
I feel pretty prepared, but we shall see. I want to know what you discovered in your research.
Okay, first of all, by no means am I an expert just because I looked at TikTok for an hour, but I did discover some newer things that are trending that I'm definitely not doing myself. But I still feel pretty good about our makeup skills from 10 years ago. And I feel like we got a really solid base in middle
We
school and
did.
high school. And now it's just like upkeep. You know, when you're like, let's
Yes.
say a medical professional, you're having to do some like continued education. That's like kind of where
Yes.
we're at. It's the
I like
continued
that.
education. So, have you heard of latte makeup?
No.
Okay, apparently it's this new trend. I don't know. I think
It's
it's what we
possible that
consider.
I know what it is, but I don't know
I
the
think
name.
we know what it is. It's they're just calling it
Okay.
latte makeup, where like basically it's this very bronzy look for summer, like an all over bronze. So like a lot
Okay.
of obviously contour, bronzer, what you would consider latte colors for eyeshadow.
Got it.
It's a very bronzed face, which I like. I always like the
Yeah.
bronzy look.
I like a bronzy look too, especially in the summer. Um, so is it about the color or is it about the placement? Like, are we talking
It's about
contour?
it's more about the color.
Okay.
Yeah, so like instead of blush, maybe you're placing bronzer on your cheeks and then
Okay.
carrying that same color on your eyelid.
Throughout.
And then you're like pulling out the color underneath your eyebrow and kind of like
Okay.
connecting to the rest of your face. So like it's kind of an all over same color instead of when we're trying to distinguish the different parts of our face.
Okay. So was that like the main one or did you find any other interesting findings
Some
on
people
TikTok?
yeah, some people are doing the whole underpainting thing, which I think you and I both do and like.
Mm-hmm.
Underpainting, you know, when you do your contour and your concealer and then you layer on top your foundation, or I think there are different ways to do it.
So
But
I think that came about because of Mary Phillips,
yeah,
the the famous makeup artist who does all the celebs that we all know and love, Kendall, Kylie, Haley. She does them all. So she calls it the laying the bones. Like she draws on sort of where your bone structure is and she like sort of sets that as a foundation before doing makeup, which I I have enjoyed adopting that because I always felt like contour, like true contouring was so heavy and it was really giving an unnatural look. Whereas I think that technique to do the what did you call it?
some people are calling it underpainting.
Underpainting. Okay. I think it's the same thing,
Mhm.
but she called it like laying the bones. I really like that, and I have been doing it whenever I use a contour cream. That's the technique I've been doing.
Yeah, another one is comfy glam. I think the trend lately has been the no makeup look. But now I'm hearing about comfy glam, which I think is maybe like a little step up from that. Honestly, I feel like I'm doing comfy glam every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, do
so
you wear a lot of makeup?
I feel like I go off and on. I think COVID really set the foundation for not wearing foundation. I think we really were staying in a lot and focusing a lot on skincare. And so we all kind of took a break from that overly cakey, heavy makeup look to then moving into this very like skincare forward, dewy, glossy look. Like we talked about
Yes.
before, like you want to look like a glazed donut, even in your makeup routine.
Yeah,
So,
very skincare forward
yeah,
looks, which
trying
I
to,
love.
same.
I feel like
I
I've always I've never wanted a full coverage foundation. And I know some people need it and that's what some people want, but I've just always wanted to be able to see through to a little bit of skin. And I've pretty much always used some kind of tinted moisturizer and not even been in a real foundation.
That's funny. I feel like as someone who struggled with acne, I really was all about the heavy
Yeah.
coverage.
Yeah.
And now for the past, I would say 5 years, I've definitely just been using like a tinted moisturizer. I do have one that I love by Ilia, which I have my entire makeup bag sitting next to me. So if you guys hear some
Me
rumbling,
too.
that would be my makeup. So we'll pull it out later, but yeah, I really I love the lightweight makeup trend and look, and I hope it's here to stay. I want to talk about though the makeup prep. We talked about skin, but we didn't necessarily talk about what do you do before you put on makeup? Do you have
Okay.
a routine?
I mean, no. No, I it's just my skincare as my foundation, basically. And I just, make sure my hands are washed. I and then I just after I'm trying to think if I have a name for it in my head, but in my sort of the way I think about it is like phase 1 and phase 2. And phase 1 is like I'm washing my face, I'm layering on my creams, my moisturizers, I'm doing my skincare, I'm doing my gua sha, and then I'll do like a slight this is probably the only makeup prep. The makeup prep is I'll brush my eyebrows, which I just have to do anyway. Get those in place. And then I'll curl my eyelashes and then like put on a layer of moisturizer on my lips or like some kind of lip gloss. And then that is like, okay, phase 1 done. I can like sort of move on with my day. And if I'm going to wear makeup, I can come back to it and just like jump right into makeup. What do you
Yeah, I
do?
think I'm the same.
Okay.
I'll wash my face, use toner, use moisturizer, put some like rose seed oil on my face. Is that what it's called? I'm not sure. I put some oil on my face so that I can do the gua sha or I can do the jade roller.
Mhm.
LOL that I forgot the name of that last episode. It's ingrained in my mind now, but yeah, I'll do my like normal skincare and then I love to put on my SPF right before I do my primer and then go into like tinted moisturizer or foundation. And then eye cream. I feel like I've really struggled with the eye cream underneath concealer. So I actually figured out that an eye serum is better than an eye cream when you're putting on makeup and when you're trying to conceal your under eyes. So I'm trying to switch to that because I feel like the eye cream really is too heavy and is patchy.
I just had that experience the other day because I just started wearing an eye cream. But I think I'm only gonna wear it at night because during the day it was interfering with my makeup. But I like that. I like that tip to use the eye serum. Yeah, I know. I should have been on the eye cream before. I feel like you're giving me a look.
As someone who that's like my biggest concern right now is my under eyes. Like I have always had really awful under eyes. It's just hilarious. Like I have been using under eye cream since I could drive. And it's just funny to me that some people don't need it until now, their late
Yeah,
20s. I'm like,
since
I
you
live
could drive. Oh
my
my
life.
god. Well, speaking of since we could drive, um, as I was getting ready for this episode in my bathroom, I have on what I would consider a a full face, but the rushed version, like the least maintenance version of a full face, because I have all the areas done, but I didn't go into like any detail in the sculpting of my contour or in my eyes. I just have on like enough to be camera ready. And I would never do this look if like I wouldn't do this look for in person, because I've really got a lot of contour on my cheeks and into my hairline and into my neck, and I think that it just would look like I rubbed dirt on my face if you saw me in person, but it's showing up well on this camera. Sorry, that was not even the point of where I was going with this. While I was getting ready, I was thinking about how we used to do makeup. And the reason I was thinking about it was because I didn't do my eyes really. And I was thinking about how the trends have changed in terms of, I feel like eyes used to be the focus and now skin is the focus, which we all know. But I hardly even do anything to my eyes other than line them and put on mascara and then maybe wear a little bit of eyeshadow. But I feel like everything used to be very eyeshadow forward. And Tinsley and I, when we were in high school, I mean, we just, I don't even know how to describe the way we looked. I wore a lot of makeup. When I look back on photos of myself in high school, I think I look older than I do now because, well, for two reasons. One reason, my eyebrows were overplucked. And something about the eyebrows that I had at the time made me look older. And then I just had on like a full smoky eye in the middle of the day at 11 a.m. and was on my way to school with the smoky eye.
This smoky eye, I probably went to sleep in it. It just didn't leave our face for like 7 years. All throughout college, I still did the smoky eye. The smoky eye was like in, and like the heavy eyeliner top and bottom, the cat eye. I think it, for me, I really gained a lot of that through like the hills, Laguna Beach. Like, what was I watching? I don't know, but the smoky eye was so prevalent. I had a lot of purple. I think I did some
Color.
green, like color.
The
Yeah, I had
opposite of the cafe face or whatever you call
a latte.
the latte look.
Cafe au
The
lait.
complete opposite. It was like taste the rainbow on my
Well,
face.
I think the reason that makeup looks so different now from like 2006 is because back then it was all about the like heavy, cakey look.
Yes.
Now we're all about like the dewy, lightweight, most radiant, natural look. And
Hmm.
I love that look. Maybe in 10 years we'll be back to the cakey look. Hopefully we're not going back there. I don't really want to go back there, but there's so many more products now that are liquid based that really help to achieve that lightweight look and the more natural look. And of course, there are little things like eyebrows and the underpainting and all that that will probably change, but I really hope the lightweight, dewy look is here to stay.
I do too. I also hope the full eyebrow is here to stay because that does work for me. I love doing my eyebrows. I love the way my eyebrows are. I get so many compliments on them. Well, I mean, I think what a strange thing to get compliments on, but so many times people are like, "I love your eyebrows." And I think that's a great compliment, but even though it's really funny. Um but like thank God they grew back cuz they were overplucked. For sure. And I used to wax, and now I just basically don't touch them.
I used to wax like crazy. I would go down to the nail salon and get pay like $10 for them to just wax them all off pretty much. I had this super skinny line. Mine didn't grow back. So glad that the favors fell on you, but mine will not grow back. In fact, I just had my first eyebrow appointment in like 3 years. I went somewhere in New York, and needless to say, the girl was like, "Yeah, they're pretty sparse."
No.
She used that word. And I'm like, okay, but that's why I'm here. And I know we just talked about like eyebrow tinting and all that. So that's what I'm sticking with. I do want to talk about brows though for a second because
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely a lot of brow talk. The brow trend right now is to push up. Some people are still pushing over. I like to brush up just because I need every little piece of hair to be fluffy and feathery because mine are so thin. I have some
I'm
great
re
products. I have three different products that are
Let us see.
working for me. Let me grab them. Me and Dallion are just rumbling around in our makeup bags here, so apologies for the noise.
Can I see what your makeup bag looks like? Can you describe it?
Of course, it's the base makeup case, and it's a travel case.
That's nice.
I don't take it out because my bathroom is so small. There's nowhere else to put it, anyways. Okay,
I don't
so
know where I got this, but this is a full pink fur makeup case, and every time I pull it out, my sisters laugh at me.
it's fur. It doesn't that get
Yeah.
dirty? I need one you can wipe down, get an alcohol wipe. We need to clean this bish off.
I think they laugh because it's the most impractical thing they've ever seen.
It is.
So,
It is, but if
which
it were,
is super on brand for me.
it is. Okay, three products here, which I think are all trending right now. I was determined to get these brows right. I was tired of spending time on them. And I just thought, like, there's got to be a product where I don't have to spend time on them. Okay, so first is the Kosas Airbrow. I don't have the clear one, but I do love a clear eyebrow gel. And
Yeah.
this is the one that's medium brown. So it's just like my hairline. I love the packaging. That kind of sells me on it.
I love
That's
that
great if
brand.
I
Really
want to
pretty.
like use a pencil. I always use a pencil, but it's great if I want to use a pencil and then still have a gel that gives like a little bit more color. But then I also have the e.l.f. Soap Brow and e.l.f. Brow Lift.
Okay.
Very trendy items right now, and I can see why. So I was kind of looking up the difference because I didn't really understand it. At first, I had the Soap Brow, which is basically a mini bar of soap, and you just get your spoolie wet. It's literally a bar of soap, like it comes out of the case. You get your spoolie wet, you dip it in there, and you just brush up, 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 like work the product into your brow. It's literally soap. I don't
Is it
understand.
waxy?
It's waxy for sure. It's heavier and thicker. I I think the brow lift is supposed to give you more of a like lamination type effect.
Okay.
For me, the soap brow is what really locks them in place. I mean, they're like, once you run your finger through after they've dried, there's like no moving the brows.
Oh.
I tend to like the brow lift a bit more because I feel like it just works better for my thinner brows. And they both keep your eyebrows like up and kind of stuck. But the soap brow, I think, it lasts longer. So like the brow lift is gonna probably fall during the day if you're trying to
Are
get the
either of
like.
those tinted?
They're not tinted. No, it's
Oh, so
literally
it's
a.
just okay.
The brow lift is like a gel.
Clear. Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the brow lift is supposed to give you flat and laminated, and the soap brow is supposed to be fluffy and feathery.
I like that.
Honestly, I think it's the reverse for me. It may just be how I'm applying it. I think the brow lift is less messy. I kind of have like remnants of soap left in my brows after I do the soap brow, so I'm not
I
trying.
want to try that. You intrigued me. You intrigued me
Guess
because I
what?
don't really do much. Go
They're
ahead.
$6 a piece.
I love. That's why I love Elf. I mean, if you want to go cheap and still achieve a look, I think Elf should be top of the list.
I do too. They also sell the spoolies for like $2. I also got the clear
Is this a
mascara.
spoolie?
Yeah,
It's
it's like a
it's just
mascara brush.
like a mascara brush. Okay, yeah. It's multi-purpose. It's multi-purpose. But so
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
ever do my eyebrows, I fill them in like right towards my nose. Um that's where they need a little help. Um, they're actually a little long right now. My eyebrows need to be trimmed. And then I just use the Sephora brand brow gel, and then I like to achieve that like up. I go up, 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 up on the like towards from the what do you call this? From the beginning of my eye closest towards my nose, I'm pushing up. And then at the center of my eye is when I start to go out. And then I drag it out to the side. And then, depending on if I've trimmed my eyebrows or not, I'll lay down some of the hairs on the edge to give it that cleaner look. Like, you see the difference in that?
I do.
For those of you listening, I'm doing it on camera if you want to watch. It's not that entertaining, but you can watch on YouTube. But yeah, like this eyebrow on this side needs a little trim. Needs a little trim.
Well, that's part of the pre-work, the makeup prep. You do
Okay.
have to trim your
Okay, you
eyebrows.
consider that makeup prep? Okay. I would
Yeah,
take care of
of
that on what I would consider like a spa night. Like, you
course.
know, I'd have to
When
do
we're
that,
also shaving our face, bleaching our mustaches, doing
Yeah,
what we
that's like all on one Sunday night,
of course.
like once or twice a month.
I did want to go back to the topic of foundation and concealer. I
Okay.
think I think concealer and foundation, they're like jeans. You've got your jeans, your good jeans that fit well. Like you don't really
Dewy.
fluctuate. Well, Dallion's still working on it, as we heard in episode, what number was that?
I
But
think it's come up in all the episodes so far, but
it'll be here to stay for the rest of the episodes, you guys. Season 2, 3, 4, whatever. We're still going to be talking about jeans. Okay, brush, sponge, or fingers for your foundation. Go.
well, I do all three.
Same.
Okay, but first fingers is how I put on my tinted moisturizer. Just rub it all in, tinted moisturizer and SPF in one, and then with my concealer, I dab that on in the areas I want, and I brush that out. And I really like that look. And it's less frustrating than the sponge. I actually use the sponge for my blush, which we haven't gotten to yet. But I use all three. Or you don't have to use the sponge for the blush. I do sometimes just tap it in with my fingers. Again, it depends on if we're doing a rushed beat or if we're taking our time.
I'm with you. I feel like the fingers sometimes it's just so much easier to get a little dab, 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 rub it all in, and then I kind of take my brush or my sponge and just make sure it's all blended. The sponge. I don't know how all of a sudden this came onto the scene. The beauty blender, I'm like, when did we start using that? When did we start dipping it under the sink?
That's a good question.
I I started using them. I don't like to wet it. I feel like it takes the product away, even though I know it's the opposite. Like it's actually helping to build the product and keep it in place. But the sponge, I go back and forth because then I feel like it's causing me to break out and it's like I don't know, is this like necessary? The brush is like the old faithful for me. So I go back and forth, but it is a great debate. There are some people that are like hardcore brush only, hardcore sponge only. Regardless, we got to clean them. It's important to clean them.
I can remember going to your house and you'd be doing your full brush cleaning routine. Tinsley has always religiously cleaned her makeup brushes, and I probably never clean my brushes unless one like falls on the floor.
You
But
want to know
you've
why?
been,
It's acne. I had acne. Like
yes,
I was doing everything to prevent it. I still wash my brushes More so now because I'm a germaphobe and I think about it too much. But the sponge, like that gets so gross.
I just throw that away every couple of months and get a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like the sponge grosses me out more than the brushes. It's just something I never think about again unless it hits the floor, and then I'm like, oh gosh,
Well, the sponge, I'm like, is it moldy?
yeah.
Anyway,
Okay,
we can
well,
move
do
on.
you? I do want to ask because I don't know a lot of people. I mean, I guess I don't get ready with that many people, but I don't know a lot of people that wet their sponge. And I even on TikTok where you see people doing their makeup, I feel like you don't unless they're just not showing that part. I always wet my sponge because I heard that like is how the pushes the product out versus when you put product on and you use it dry, it's just absorbing the product. But I think a lot of people don't know that.
Oh, I think they do.
You think
I
they
think
do?
they don't
Okay.
show it.
Okay. Well, if you don't know, get
Well, I
that
think,
sponge a little wet and it will create a really beautiful dewy look, which is why I use it for the blush cuz I think it just makes the finish so beautiful on the cheek when it's just a little dewy and the wetness of the sponge gives you that.
you're not wrong. I do, I don't use it for blush. I think when it comes to blush, I love using a brush. I
Really?
have since switched from powdered blush to liquid blush. And I know, like, I go,
No.
I appreciate the liquid. It's just,
Everything is liquid now.
yeah, it is. I still, though, I love a powdered highlighter. I feel like the highlighter is the last step for me. And whenever I use a liquid highlighter, it feels cakey. It feels patchy. It feels like it's not blending. So just personal preference.
To me, the switch from all powdered makeup to all liquid makeup is the same as millennials struggling to get away from their skinny jeans. Like, I feel like it's just the same struggle. It's like we've used the powder for so long and we have our staples that it was hard to make the switch, but it's just like it's just one of those things that keeps you current if you can adapt with those trends. I think if you want to stick to your powdered stuff, like that is totally fine. And as you all know, I'm still rocking some skinny jeans every now and then. But it's just I feel like that is one of those important, if you don't want to look like you're behind the times, that was an important switch. And you and I were struggling because I can remember having a text conversation with you and you were like, what are you doing with your bronzer? You were like, are what are we using? And at the time, and this is like we're talking 4 months ago, I was using the powdered bronzer. And now I got this little brown contour stick.
Let's pull them out.
It makes a difference.
I got the sharp. Let's edit that out. I have the Tarte Sculpt Tape Contour. Yeah, this is different. Let me tell you. I'm still getting used to it.
Wait, sorry. This is a pure liquid? This is not a stick?
No, I have pure liquid. The spongy tip.
Why are you not using a cream bronzer? I didn't mean a liquid bronzer.
No, this is all the rage.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's like the off brand basically of the Charlotte Tilbury wand that everyone likes.
Okay.
There are people using the stick though. The stick and the wands, as they call it, the cream, the
I mean,
liquid.
I love a stick. I love a multi-purpose just thing like this. This is from Target. To be honest, I don't know the brand. My um maybe it's called Color Perfect. And it's actually a foundation stick now that I'm looking at it. This isn't even a bronzing stick, but whatever. I'm using it as a bronzing stick. Um, and it's because I needed a cheaper one. I had the Rare Beauty one, and it fell off my thing and hit the floor. and I didn't love it enough to buy it again. So I just got a cheaper one at Target.
Here's the thing, those sticks. I had a highlighting stick like that, like a crayon.
Yeah?
Totally fine. It's just not for me. I feel a
Really?
bit traumatized from sixth grade, 2006, when I had the crayon like lipstick tube concealer. And I was like dotting that on every morning before school. I had these little pimples. Uh, Now I feel like it's just personally not airy enough for me. And the reason why I got the sponge tip one with the liquid is just because I felt like it was easier to blend, more airy, and not so heavy, not so like stuck on my skin like I was like scraping off my foundation with it.
Okay. So do you like this product that you are showing?
I like it. I think it took a long time for me to figure out how to use it to where it didn't look like I rubbed dirt on my face. So I
I
got,
remember you were struggling.
because I was using the sponge tip, and now I'm using an actual contour brush where I'm like pounding it
Okay.
in my face. A sponge
Got
would
it.
work well too, a regular beauty blender, but I do like it. I know that a lot of people will put the powdered bronzer kind of like overlaying on the contour
Yep.
for a little doughy, deer eyed look, but I'm not doing that. I will do that if I'm like doing a full beat or if I'm on vacation and wanting to look extra bronzy, but I just don't think it's necessary for my everyday to do bronzer and contour. And I think contour is really all about the sculpt, and we want the sculpt. You know, it's like airbrushing your
Want to be
abs but on your
snatched.
face. Yeah, we want to be
Yes.
snatched. We want to be sculpted, lifted, just like the rest of our body. So the
So talk
bronzer
to me
really,
about placement.
uh, okay, placement took a long time. I had to watch a lot of videos. And girls, I think sometimes we like give up on makeup because we can't figure it out. Just watch a lot of videos. Like, how else do you think other people have figured this out? Like, Dallion and I are not pros by any means, but we have practiced a lot. We have watched a lot of videos. Hopefully, you guys are learning something from this. But here's the thing that I think about contour when I'm doing it every day is like, okay, we want to do it along our hairline, our jawline, and our cheekbones, the sides of our nose. Yeah, I think that's it, right? And then your bronzer's like, if you want to add some more warmth, you do it in the middle of your chin, maybe your cheeks, maybe middle of your forehead.
Interesting. Okay, we
You
think
want to
about
look
this differently.
really,
Yeah. I guess I consider I guess I consider contouring and bronzing the same thing now. Um
it is
and I
essential.
just feel like bronzing, but you're right. There's a way you can bronze even with powder that is still like just creating more depth to the sculpt. But I guess I only sculpt. So I do what you said. Like this is the TikTok thing. You do kind of cheekbone below the cheek. I've been doing a little bit on the brow bone because I saw Selena Gomez do that and I like it. And then above the brow bone on the forehead, along the jawline slightly, and then down the neck. Um, but not very heavy-handed. And I think the secret is the blending, obviously, but specifically the blending into the hairline because I see so many people that have not blended properly, and that is not the look you want. And I'm always like, ooh, I hope I have blended properly. And I don't have the greatest bathroom lighting, but I try. And I really just think that like blending in, like just blend it into the hairline, just like keep going, blend it all the way down the neck, just like blend as much as possible. But I don't do that look every day. Like I don't use this bronzing stick every day. Some days I'm just going skin, cheeks, maybe lips, maybe mascara. Like that would be like my everyday look. But I would do like the sculpting and the bronzing on like a nighttime look, or if I'm like going to be on camera or getting my picture taken. I don't do the bronzing during the day.
I will always bronze, I'll always contour, and I think it's just depending on the coverage you want. So I'll
Yeah.
do
Oh yeah.
lighter. I'll do lighter if it's just, during the day, just another day. I I've been learning a bit about setting powder, setting sprays.
Oof.
I think we are all seeing the triangle powder puff. We're having flashbacks to the powder puffs we used in the early 2000s, and I'm I'm learning, first we had baking, now we are maybe using the triangle powder puff for a light dusting and then we're baking, or maybe we're just doing one or the other. I think baking is out.
I was gonna say, gosh, are we still baking? Jeez.
I think it's
I
out,
didn't
but we're
know.
still dabbling.
Okay. I think people are still baking their under eyes.
Yeah, they are.
That's yeah, I don't know.
So the powder puffs I'm not into yet. I'm into the idea. I just personally haven't purchased it because I've got enough going on. I'm like,
I don't even know what you're talking about. Maybe I should have done.
it's the triangle shaped, small, flat kind of powder applicator that girls are using to they're using with most likely a loose powder, and they're doing it under their eyes, along their nose, kind of like on their cheek.
So we're not
And
using a brush.
no, no, that's the new thing these days. So
Okay.
I'm still using the brush. I prefer a packed powder, a pressed powder over a loose powder, but I know that a loose powder does create a more natural.
Yeah, I'm loose powder all the way.
I just got tired of the mess. I'll switch back eventually. I needed a break. So yeah, the triangle shaped powder puffs, girls are setting their under eyes, and it looks like a lot of powder when I'm watching it on TikTok. I always fear for like a cakey look, but I think that's why they're doing the loose powder, and they don't use a ton of powder. So they kind of like put it on there, let it sit for a second, and then they kind of brush away the rest of it.
Okay.
Um, and then we're using the same old setting spray. I think setting spray, thank God, is still in the mix.
I don't
We've
like
been doing.
setting spray.
You don't like it?
I don't like it.
Love it.
I
Like
feel like what a I don't know, extra step. I just don't do it.
it is the easiest extra step. What are you talking about?
I don't
Most
like
girls
it.
are using Elf or Nyx. I use the Nyx Plump Finish setting spray. It's again like $6. I do all my liquid. It's like my liquid base, and then I do a little bit of powder to set it, and then I spray over the powder. And then at the very end, like after my eyes and everything, I'll set again, because for me it really does make a difference to spray on the setting spray, and it's so easy. And I think it takes a look from, like, if I'm a little too cakey or too heavy-handed when applying, the dewy setting spray kind of like blends it all, diffuses it all.
Okay. Maybe I'll try. I'll give it a try.
This is so funny how we're so opposite right now, but like we do have some of the same products.
Well, yeah. Yeah. When Tinsley and I we needed to do like a photo that we're gonna use to promote this episode. And I said, like, okay, hold something up. And we both held the same thing up, which was really funny. And we also are both wearing black today, totally not pre-discussed. We are so similar, but so different. It really is funny. And not to get us too far off the subject, but I just wanted to say we have been doing makeup for a long time. Like when girls in high school were not doing makeup, I mean, we were. and not just like an emo, like heavy eyeliner look. I mean, we were really into makeup as I've been into makeup since I was very young, and I didn't have any videos to watch. Like, we didn't grow up in that time period. So obviously we were doing a lot of trial and error. But something that I was remembering was like it used to be a thing like at prom, like everyone would like get their makeup done. And do you remember that people came to to my house? Like, we did like 4 or 5 different girls makeup on the night of prom. And then like I did makeup and you did hair. We should have started a little side hustle. We weren't even charging for that. Do you remember that?
I just I don't I do remember the prom situation. I just remember us practicing. We practiced so much. We wore it every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, back then there was no contouring, no bronzing. Like it was just straight up drugstore foundation and a nude stick and some mascara, the green and pink mascara. It was definitely like the no makeup look because just nobody knew what they were doing. I wouldn't say we even knew what we were doing, but we just practiced a lot and we wore a lot of it. And I think
I'm
that's
going to
really,
disagree. I'm going to say we knew what we were doing. And I had that banging Sephora kit. I had the like 5 tier eyeshadow palette. It was huge. It had every color of the rainbow in all the various shades. I don't know if other people had this, but it was like it could expand to be like 2 or 3 feet long, and it had every color option. And I just remember like we had the setup. I just even to when I was in college, I knew so many people that either didn't wear makeup or didn't know how to wear it, or because like their mom didn't wear makeup, or they didn't have a big sister to teach them or whatever. And I guess I learned because my mom wore makeup and I would watch her and then go into my own bathroom, and she let me have makeup at a young age. And so I was able to try a lot of things. Um, but I was doing people's makeup even into college. I can remember like my roommate got engaged, and on her like for her engagement party, she came in my room and was like, "Can you do my makeup?" And I was like, "Yes." I love it. I love doing people's makeup.
yeah,
Because people,
we did.
go ahead, go ahead.
We knew what we were doing, like enough to where other people were asking. It's just funny that we're now in an age where things are changing so fast and we're having to do the asking.
Yeah. Well, no, that is what's funny is that I feel like we used to be professional, and now I'm like, wait, what?
I know.
We're
And
doing what now?
yeah. Yeah. And we really, our specialty was eyes. And now
Yeah.
we're not really focusing on eyes, like you said. We're doing, you know, maybe some more like skin tone colors on our eyelids
Yeah.
and some quick eyeliner, maybe. A lot of people now are just doing mascara.
I
I like
know.
that trend too. I just think like I do need a little bit of oomph on my eyes when I'm doing like a full beat or if I'm going out. Like I'll just do the mascara on the daily if I'm like going to work or something. But the eyes, man, now, and I do appreciate that we're doing like the no eyeliner look, the white eyeliner look. I like that we're kind of mixing it up with eyes still, but it's definitely
Yeah.
not the norm and it's not the everyday.
I feel like the way people are being creative now is you still see a little bit of like cream, again, everything cream and not powdered. You see cream eyeshadows, and like I Hillary Duff, she recently was talking about her makeup routine, and she mentioned the Urban Decay Space Cowboy, which is I don't think it's a cream, but I went to Sephora to see if I could find it. But it's like a very pigmented glitter eyeshadow, and it's totally sold out everywhere because she mentioned it, obviously. But I thought that was interesting to see like a very pigmented, very glittery color sell out. And then the other thing I've seen young people do that I think is interesting, and like it's like their take on being creative with their eyes, is the little like dots or sort of like doing some kind of design on the eyelid, or like doing a single dot in the middle of the lid, or being like, if they're wearing eyeliner, being more fun with it, or doing like a colored eyeliner but keeping like a neutral eye, I think is really like a modern take if you really want to bring color into your face routine. And then the other way is blush, which I don't know if we're ready to talk about blush yet, but blush is my favorite.
Okay, guys, I know everybody's doing the Rare Beauty, and
I got my Rare Beauty.
I like it. Okay, I don't know if I love it yet, but I've been
You're gonna
doing
be hating on my Super Goop, hating on my Rare Beauty.
because I used to use the Glossier liquid blush. I also have used Ilia liquid blush. I've been doing this since I don't know, it's 2019. This to me is heavy. Is really heavy.
Okay, I'll
It's
give you that.
yeah. Like there are more days when I put on too much than when I put on just the right amount.
You do
But
have
it's
to
good.
be careful
It's
with
good.
the Rare Beauty. What color do you have? I feel like we're holding the same color. Is it Hope?
It's Hope. I don't love the color. That's like I got one that's a little too pinky.
Are you wearing it right now?
Yeah. But
Okay.
I'm telling you, I have to just do tiny little dots. You know how girls now
Yeah.
are playing on freckles? I feel like that's what I'm doing
Yep.
with my blush. I'm doing tiny dots and kind of building it up. So it's very delicate for me. And the other ones I was using before, like the Ilia multi stick, I love that thing. And
Okay.
you can be just like so in a rush with it, and it still looks so great.
The Rare Beauty liquid blush is very pigmented, and I think it leans a bit matte. I think, at least from what I've experienced, it's a little bit mattifying. I do one like medium dot on my cheek, and then I use the beauty blender that's wet to blend it upwards. And I think the wetness of the sponge dilutes it a bit, which I think helps and doesn't make it as mattifying. But so I like it. I've been using it for over a year now, and I pulled this out because this is what I graduated from. To me, the OG is the NARS Orgasm Multi Stick. I still think you can't go wrong with this, but I felt like I needed a change. And the NARS stick is it actually has like pieces of glitter in it. So it's, if you want to be like glittered on your cheeks, you could go with that. I love this. I say this is, you know, NARS Orgasm is just a color you can't go wrong with.
Yes, I used that all throughout college. I love the color. There are some things in makeup that just will not expire.
It's
They will
classic. And I
actually
have
expire.
the powder and the cream. I have both.
Yeah, yeah. Like you should replace them because they get gross and they actually do expire, but
Are
there are
you
some
like insinuating that I've had this for 10 years? Because I have.
honestly, for you, yeah. I bet you have. You just said you don't wash your makeup brushes, so yeah, you definitely had that makeup stick for 10 years.
Oh, yeah. She's been
Probably like
around. She's been around the block
putting the
with
flu
me.
on your face every day. Okay, so back to blush.
Yeah, no, I'm not done talking about blush.
Yeah. Well, now we're kind of using blush up along the eyes. We're using it above the eyebrow. We're putting blush everywhere. So
And on the lips and on the tip of the nose, or like the bridge of the nose. Yes,
it's different.
it is
It's
different.
different these days. Yeah.
Well, and that's
I'm
why you have to use the cream. And then if you want to, like, this is what I've been doing at least. I say you use the cream because you can make that like more subtle in the places you need to. Again, with the beauty blender or with a brush. And then um if you want to like set it or make it look more matte, you can go with a powder on top. I also just recently, like within the last 2 weeks, got the Merit. I think it's Merit.
yeah.
The color is cheeky, so it's a little deeper than the Rare Beauty that I have, which is very pink, as we said. Um, this is in the warmer, it's like a very warm pink. It's not very pigmented. It is buildable, but I really like the finish. And that's what made me really think about the Rare Beauty being so matte, is when I got this and realized how dewy and just it just has a beautiful finish and you can really build it. Today, I'm actually wearing both. I did the Rare Beauty as a base and then set with powder and then came back over it with the Merit, and I really like the look. And yeah, I mean, I wearing it by itself is just it's very sheer, but you can build, and I really have been liking this color cheeky.
That's what I was gonna say. Is now people are layering their blush. They're almost doing like an ombre blush. They're
I
taking
love
maybe a
blush.
lighter liquid color in the center, like the apple of their cheek. Then they are using maybe a darker blush on the outside and blending the two, kind of going up with it, like into the under eye.
All the
And then,
way blended in with the contour. Yeah, go all the
yeah,
way
yeah,
up to the eye.
yeah, like laying over the contour. Some people are doing the liquid base, doing all the things, and they're setting it. And then, like, kind of at the end, they're going back over the liquid blush with a powdered blush, which I do agree with that. I no longer have a powdered blush. I still love a powdered blush, but I do agree with kind of going back over because I feel like blush loses its color so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and that
But
might depend on if you're like oily or combination, or like what kind of skin type you have. Because if I'm having an oily day, that's how I feel. Um, Yeah, I feel like I hardly ever overdo my blush. People may feel differently, but I just because I just love blush, and I think like I have big cheeks, so I'm like it's just something I'm like I'm just going with it. But it's funny because again with the placement of things being so different from how we grew up, I think we didn't know how to put like I don't think we knew where to put the blush, and now I feel like we understand that like on the apples and then like blending up is very flattering. But I think before people almost use blush in the area where we now contour.
yeah.
I can
Yeah, you
remember.
remember?
I can just remember. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we would
A
buy
little tiny, like very stiff brush that would like come with some kind of kit, and you just like rub it in on the on the cheekbone.
yes. Yes, and we would buy these makeup palettes from, like, I had a couple from Sephora that were like, okay, here's your highlighter, your bronzer, and your blush. And they would give you this kind of like step by step guide for your face and where to apply it. And yeah, blush was definitely like on your, I mean, your cheekbone, but like,
Sort of the outside of your cheek, not
yeah,
the apple.
like, like low. So I feel like our faces were just being like dragged down. And also, it looked like we just smashed our face into a bucket of paint. Anyways,
Things have
you guys,
changed.
times have totally changed. That's why we're doing this podcast, because
So
these things are
interesting.
trending now and we're still having to learn, and we're maybe more inexperienced with the makeup and skin and the beauty side of things than the fashion side, but these things are important to talk about too. And I love that Diane and I took this conversation out of the text, and now we're recording it, and we are sharing the knowledge with you guys, and also making you guys feel like you are not alone in wondering about all of these different makeup
No.
trends that seem so impossible to keep up with.
Expensive to keep up with, difficult to know if you're doing it right. I mean, some people like just trying something new. Like you did your makeup different for the first day, and then you're like going out into the world and you're like wondering what like does anyone notice? Like what do people think of me? I don't know. At least I do sometimes. I've always been experimental with my looks, but I definitely was in a rut there for I won't say how many years, but I have enjoyed like coming back to my artistic roots with makeup and trying new things and trying to, stay with the times, for lack of a better word.
I know. We definitely both were in a rut for a while, and I'm so glad that we're kind of feeling out of it. We are feeling more inspired. We're looking things up. We're learning. We are all having to continue to learn about this subject, and I'm sure we are not done. And we'll have a new trend for you next time. But I'm so glad you guys joined in. We
Yeah, thanks
are
for listening.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the next episode. We're going to probably hit back to fashion
Yeah.
and talk about clothing. And if you guys liked this podcast, please check us out on YouTube. If you're not already listening on YouTube, watch us, subscribe, do all the things so that we can continue to have these conversations.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button, leave us a review if you like the show. We would be so appreciative of your feedback. Send us a DM. We're both on Instagram, Tinsley's on TikTok, and all that information is in the show notes. If you want to contact us, we'd love to hear from you, hear what you like, and even, what you think could be improved upon. So if you're still with us, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
See ya.
This podcast is brought to you by the Adventurous Podcast Network.